A new year often feels like a fresh start, which is why so many people make resolutions for positive change in their lives. However, a recent study showed that just 8% of people fulfilled their New Year's goals. Ken Dolan-Del, the author of Simple Habits of Exceptional But Not Perfect Parents, is with us today to talk about ways to turn these resolutions into reality. Happy New Year, Ken.
Happy New Year, Alana. Happy vaccination, hopefully, New Year.
Yeah, I agree. Let's keep it positive. Oh, and speaking of positive, people are looking to make good changes in their lives and they're thinking about resolutions. And I imagine the first step, Ken, is to develop these resolutions. What's some good ways to get some tangible goals in place?
Yeah, the first thing you want to keep in mind is make them really, really specific. So it's not, I'm going to exercise more and get more healthy. It's, I'm going to walk for 20 minutes at least 3 times a week. It's not, I'm going to save much more money. It's, I'm going to put aside a small amount, maybe $25, maybe $15 every time I get paid. Things like that. Make it very specific so that there's no wiggle room. You know whether you did it or not, and you can check in with yourself on it regularly. That's a first recommendation.
Yeah, that seems like it would make it tangible and you can hold yourself accountable to these goals.
Exactly. Yeah. That's the whole thing. You want to hold yourself accountable. And another thing you can do is write it down. Write down your resolutions. Just make a few of them too. Just, no more than 3, maybe 4, and make them very specific, and you wrote them down and you carry them with you, because there's research that shows that when we write down goals, we're much more likely to follow through with them.
Ken, what about developing a timeline for these goals?
Sure, it's a really good idea to have the specificity of, you can break it down in terms of, like, I'm going to do this once a week, or I'm going to do this at least once a month. So a resolution might be something like, I'm going to get in touch with at least one friend who I haven't spoken to in 6 months, every month, at least one friend. And so now you're going to change the whole situation. So you're going to check in and you're going to talk to at least one of those friends, and maybe you're going to be talking to them ultimately much more regularly than you were. But your goals can be incremental. They can be incremental, that by a certain date, I will have saved a certain amount of money. But then you want to bring it back to the very, very specific of, what does that mean weekly? And another thing to keep in mind is if you have goals that are very specific and you've got them in your head and you've got them written down and they're in your wallet or your pocket or your purse, then they are going to be more in the front of your mind. So if one of your goals is to eat more fruit every day, maybe eat more berries, or eat berries every day. Berries are so healthy for us. Well, when you're at the grocery store, that's going to be more top of mind, and you're more likely to actually make the purchase that'll get you there.
Ken, what if you actually find yourself in a situation where the resolution is not a right fit? Can you give yourself permission to adjust and change gears?
Yeah, and that's a whole other thing. The resolution should be meaningful for you. It should be something you want to do. It should be something that is part of your sense of purpose and part of the activity that fulfills you. So you shouldn't do it for somebody else. You shouldn't do it for your doctor or for your parent or your friend. You should do it because you want to do it. And as you check in, let's say that your resolution is to begin learning an instrument. Let's say you want to begin learning guitar, and you say, I'm gonna take some kind of lesson, maybe an online lesson, or I'm gonna watch a video and I'm gonna play along at least 2 times a week for 20 minutes. And you find you're not doing that. You're just not doing it. It's okay to ask questions of yourself, like, why am I not doing it? Is it because I'm scheduling it at the wrong time? Or is it that I really don't want to do that? But that's not what interests me. And then you've just discovered something about yourself. I mean, part of making resolutions is that you are having an active journey of self-discovery.
Yes, I mean, it shouldn't necessarily be a chore. It should be something that you really enjoy.
Yeah, absolutely. And the thing is that the more you do something that's new, it becomes a habit and you're likely to feel more pleasure in it. It is hard to get a new habit started. And some people will say if you're doing something regularly for 30 days, you're at least in the beginning of a new habit. But if you're not finding it enjoyable and fulfilling, then maybe you need to think about what else you should do. I mean, again, we discover our aptitudes through experimentation much of the time. One other thing that I think it's a really good idea to do, and that's tell other people who you love and respect what your goals are, Because, for example, I'll tell you, I've written a number of pieces, and I was writing a book a few years back, and I would have breakfast with a friend of mine once a month, and he would always say to me, "So what's taking so long? Where's this book?" And that helps because I knew when I have my breakfast with this friend, he's going to ask me. And so, lovingly bugging somebody who's told you that they want your support with a goal, good thing to do. Also, tell your kids, because you're a role model, and you want them to see that we can have goals in life and we can pursue them and we can fulfill them.
We certainly can, and we can learn a little bit about ourselves on the way. Ken Dolan-Del, thanks so much for joining me. Happy New Year's to you.
Happy New Year to you, Alana. Great seeing you.